Welcome back to another episode of Flipside Up with JJ. I'm Sunny Sukumar. I'm in for JJ today with the amazing Sam Carapia. She is not only a powerhouse real estate investor, she's also that strong as a mom. I know her kids would say the same if I asked them. Um, so great to have you with us again, Sam. We're here to talk about how to build a buyer's list. First, how are you?
I'm awesome. I'm so awesome. I'm happy Christmas is over and all that craziness is over. It still feels like I'm the only one working, but yeah, like my title companies are still closed and all that stuff, but it's I'm good. I'm overall really, really good. I'm excited to be here.
That's great to hear. Yeah, it is a relief for many people to be done with the holidays and then transitioning into 2025. For
Crazy.
those who don't know you yet, Sam, where in the country are you?
So I'm in Atlanta and I'm from Chicago. I moved here about 3 years ago. It's definitely a culture change. I'm not completely loving it. I'm actually looking for a place in Florida currently. I'm actually thinking about building. I've been in sub two for a year. Well, a little over a year. I got laid off. I was doing flips for a capital investment company, Starwood. They owned about 8,000 assets between Georgia, Tennessee, Florida, and North Carolina. And when the interest rate skyrocketed, everybody got kind of laid off. So it was like a sink or swim type situation. And I joined sub two on my birthday, September 13th of last year. I made my first wholesale deal in December, $64,000, two of them, to be fair. So I just kind of like jumped in and immersed myself in everything I didn't know what escrow was at that time. I didn't know, all I was used to was construction, like overseeing construction, making sure things were done, taking change orders, reviewing them, making sure prices were right. I didn't really know anything about real estate at all. And then my partner, bless her, gave me the access to Pace's. She added me as a partner. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch all this stuff. And I ended up we owned 5 properties now, and we've netted almost $1 million since last year. Like it's been crazy. But I've been jumping in like without, like a lot of people have analysis paralysis. I don't have that. I'm more like I'm gonna jump in and make a huge mess and then figure it out later if I made mistakes, but it's been a really good experience for me. And I feel like anybody can do this. And it's like your mindset completely tilts when you're able to do these things and say, oh my God, I will never work for another person again. So it's been an awesome journey for me, I have to say.
Did your background in real estate with general contractor stuff help you in this journey at all?
Yeah, I guess a little bit because we bought like 3 fix and flips. So the construction part, of course, was part of it. And then we got our GC license in Florida, like officially. So we are official like I can pull permits in Florida. Um, was it Yeah, a little bit, I guess, for that part. But as far as the wholesaling, I mean, no, like it had no, like I knew what the house looked like. I knew what needed to be done. And I was fairly assessing. You know how like some people you see, like it'll be like, oh, here's this house and it needs like 50,000 in construction. And you look at it and be like, nah, bitch, it needs like 100,000 in construction. That is like, so like I was always really fair pricing my stuff, like saying like fairly, like this is and people would be used to adding that 50,000 because they were so used to people lowballing the construction part, but I was always doing it in fairness. And so it kind of that was a little bit of a struggle. And honestly, like hurt me, I think, more than help me. So I'm just trying to say, like, you can really do this from having no experience whatsoever in real estate or anything and be successful as long as you are staying on the phones. I found a lot of my stuff has been on ads. Like I run paid ads, like $60 a day, and they come to me rather than me cold calling or having a VA cold call. I think that's a good way to do too. But my success has been paid ads, paid Facebook ads, and Google ads, and my leads come to me, and I've been doing amazing with acquiring assets. So that's kind of how I started, and that's kind of like what I want to inspire other people to do. Like I'm always willing to help people with their deals, talk to their sellers. I love talking to sellers. And then like my biggest pain point, what's so funny about this, our subject today is dealing with dispo, and that has been the biggest pain point for me. I can get contracts all day, talk to sellers all day, but dispoing my deals have been challenging. Because
Before we even go on from there, what does dispo mean?
dispo
Not
means
everybody knows that term.
okay, so like when you get a contract and you talk to a seller and you spend all this time, massaging them and making sure they're good. I've helped one pack. I went and helped a lady pack so that she can get all of her stuff together. Like you make these relationships and you have this contract and then it's yours and you're like, holy shit, I have this contract. This is awesome. But if you don't have a buyer, dispo, then you have nothing. Then you don't have money. There's no money to be made. You need that buyer. And that is where the biggest struggle has been as a whole. So dispo is basically finding yourself a buyer to make because without that, your contract's worthless unless you have the money to close on it yourself. Which I'm going to get into later about how like to threaten that stuff. But yeah, there's definitely that's if you don't have a buyer, you don't have a deal. And that's the truth of it.
Okay, so let's dive right into finding buyers. How best to find buyers for your deals?
I used to put so this is my thing. I used to put it on Craigslist. Craigslist for people our age, like I'm 42. Okay. So like Craigslist is still pretty much highly used and people older than us, like Craigslist was a good resource for me. I found one of my buyers on Craigslist. As a matter of fact, I was telling Sunny about this earlier. So on Christmas last year, I was broke. I was broke as shit and I had no presents, nothing, no money, nothing. And I went out and I got this really good deal on this multifamily in Jacksonville. It was a fourplex. It was $200,000. It was already cash flowing. It was amazing. And this guy came in and and I met him on Craigslist and I was naive. I didn't know, a lot about, this is my first deal, right? This was my first deal. And he came and he was, he was really nice. He went and saw the property. He took a lot of time there he was late. He really kind of like, I didn't like the way that his approach was. He was late. He kind of like messed up with the tenants. Like the tenants only expected people to walk through once. He wanted to walk through twice. There was a couple like issues, with it, but whatever. I was staying strong on it. And then I got a message from my seller saying, "Hey, that guy who saw the property today just sent my mom, who was the actual holder of the property, a contract on her own on her iPhone." And I said, "Can you please send that to me?" So she sent it to me. He was trying to confuse the buyer and cut me out of the deal. I had a $30,000 assignment on this deal, and I'm not trying. It was worth it. It was worth it. And I went back and I said, so I went to him and I said, "Listen, we are going to close on this regardless. Like you are out of this deal if you want to play this game." He was like, he was like, "I don't know what you're talking about." I literally showed him the contract he sent the old lady to confuse her. And then he just kind of like timidly said on an email, I could show you the email thread. It was hilarious. He just said, "Okay, we're just going to close on it." I'm like, "Okay, motherfucker." And he did. He did end up closing on it, which was good. But it's like it's Christmas time and you're going to screw me out of a deal like he was already making a good amount of money on. Like Jacob Parker, I will never forget his name in Jacksonville. It was terrible. So like we also learned about filing memorandums. As soon as you get a contract, you need to file a memorandum. Pace's, if you're in sub two, Pace's contract already outlines that one person can file a memorandum without the other knowing. So you can sit there and say, "Okay, you file a memorandum to the title company with the contract, and they will record it for you. So God forbid somebody tries to go around you, you will get like what was your assignment? Like mine on that was 30. Some people's are 10. Like you say, "Okay, I'll release this contract to you, but you're going to pay me 10 grand no matter what." So it's just kind of like it's a safety thing and it helps with really, nefarious buyers, which I've had. I mean, it happens. And unfortunately, I think it happens a lot more than people say, but it does happen. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
What are some of the signs that one of the buyers would try to cut you out?
And that's so hard to dictate. You try to talk to people and know them. My number one thing before giving a lockbox, or even see people email me and say, "Hey, I'm really interested in property. Call me." So like, do you have other investment properties? What do you work on? Are you in any groups? Are you in sub two? Because it does help. I know it's like not everyone in sub two is good, but when they do say they're in sub two, it gives me like I have a buyer right now and he's going through where I'm selling him a property in Forney. So there's no ironclad way of being able to. It's just basically your gut, trust your gut. And then also always file a memorandum because no matter what happens, if that memorandum's filed with the title company and the contract, you have to send the contract and the memorandum together and say, listen, I want to put a memorandum on this property for 10,000. And then you put a lot of like really strong language, like notice of intent to sue, blah, 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 attention title company, attention closing attorney. Like they recognize that and they know that they won't be able to close unless they lift that. Now, don't do that if you don't be a dick about it and do it if you can't find a buyer, then don't do something like that. But if you already have a buyer and you're lined up to close and then someone tries to go around you, absolutely enforce that. It's a must do when you are wholesaling. Absolutely.
That makes me wonder what many people are probably wondering, which is how do you go about qualifying buyers to see, are these people legit buyers and are they really qualified to be a buyer for you at this time?
It's hard to say. Like you really have to just kind of trust. You have to talk to them, speak to them on the phone, know that they're a person, and see what else they're doing. Like how many other investment properties do you have? You can kind of dig into that. Do your due diligence, see if they have other properties, see what their LLC is under. Do they have other ones that they're holding? Like you can ask those questions. You're completely free to ask those questions, and then make sure they put down like 5 to 10. I've actually raised my EMD to 10,000. I used to have 5 and now I'm smarter and now it's 10,000. Like 10 grand EMD, non-refundable. Don't fuck around because then they know they're going to lose it if they don't perform. That's so basically just speaking to them. It's hard to say. Like I don't have a vetting process, Sonny. Like I speak to them. I feel like I can, if it doesn't feel good to me, then I just drop it. Like this one guy, I just literally stop. I wouldn't do it with him. He tried going around me to the agent asking questions when he knew that I held the contract. So I automatically just dumped it. I said, listen, and here's a great way to make sure you tell them that you're not just a wholesaler. You're also an investor. You say, I will close on this if you don't want to. Like you hold the contract to close, threatening that you will close on it. And that's what happened actually with Jacksonville is I said, I will fucking close on this because I have the right to do it. You just say, I will close on this. And they will that instills a little bit of fear in them saying, okay, well, they do hold the contract and that's true. And everything's in escrow and open. It's hard to go around that. You really can't.
So make them show some real seriousness by putting up money.
Yes.
EMD.
Yep. EMD is everything. 5, 10 grand. 10 grand is what I'm up to now. Like
Wow.
it's a must. Yeah. And they'll do it if they're real.
If
But
they're
if
real.
they're not, they won't.
Are
And
there
then
any other questions that you ask?
I just asked them like about their portfolio, about how long they've been investing. How many other properties do they hold? I have one guy in Forney right now. He's in sub 2 and he was like he has 5 other properties in Forney and I'm selling him one in Forney and that's a good, a lot of real buyers and real investors, if they're on the buyer side, they don't want to deal with acquisitions. We're doing all the work on the acquisition side. You guys know how hard it is to find a deal. It is hard to put together a deal and build that rapport. And if I didn't have that rapport with the seller in Jacksonville because I built it, she probably would have went around me. She would have gotten a little. He offered her about $10,000 or $20,000 more than I was giving her, and he would have saved himself 10 grand. And she still told him to F off. So like, you really need to build that rapport with your sellers and make sure that you're going to be the one taking care of them. You're going to be the one to make sure everything is going to be set right and that was a blessing that she came back to me and said, hey, my mom has a contract in front of her for 20 grand more than you were offering and that would have cut me out of the deal and she still didn't do it. So just imagine how that it's a matter of like there's good people out there now. There might not, that could have went sideways, but at the same time I would have had that memorandum in place to make sure they couldn't have cut me out of the deal. So no matter what, build your rapport so that people can't do that to you. And then also have that little security piece, that memorandum at title to make sure that if anybody sells that property, you are the one that collects on whatever amount you were thinking that you were going to do.
Is that something that's a standard part of a wholesaler contract, or is that
Yes.
something that you've had to very consciously add into your contracts?
So Pace's contract, luckily, like I said, I just jump in and get wet and see what happens. And luckily, Pace's contracts, when you're in sub 2, they have the little thing where it's like any party, or it says basically the seller can instill a memorandum without the buyer knowing. So basically I could just write up whatever I want and then attach it to the contract. You don't want to do that in bad faith, but you want to do it in good faith. Like when you are actually the contract holder and you are looking for a buyer, you want to say, okay, this is my position in this. I already own equity in this deal, and this is my amount, 10 grand, 20 grand, whatever it is. So that's kind of, yeah, that's standard. Back before there was Investor Lift. You guys know Investor Lift. Investor Lift is like 50 grand a year. It is insane. And I found this. Somebody came out, the guy who designed this, his name is Daniel. He invented Investor Base. Investor Base, I literally like I was just so I got this property. It was a pocket listing from an agent. This is the coolest thing I've run across for buyers. Like I'm telling you, like Craigslist and Facebook, no. As of like last month, I got into this. I spent not even there's not even the amount of money on this thing is he should charge probably 4 times more than what this thing is. You are able to skip trace people, their companies, and then also see what they paid for the property. So say that like you have a wholesale deal, you put in an address and it brings up everybody who is either a landlord, their name, and this is the company. So and what their portfolio is. So this guy in this address, he purchased a 4.2, he purchased it for 316, he sold it for 460, and the flip duration was 5 months. You are not going to get this data from anybody. Investor Lift, nothing. I'm not trying to dog Investor Lift. Like I think it's a good tool, but who can afford $50,000 a year? Like I am killing it in acquisitions. I can't afford that. It wouldn't make sense for my business. In this one little step, all I do is punch in an address. It tells you he's a flipper. This is his name. This is what he bought. And you're able to call this guy. And I've had and this is what's awesome. And I'm actually trying to do this with my wholesale business right now. I've got a guy who's calling these people in the areas that I'm buying in and just kind of getting their buy list. This is what they're registered under, their LLC. So you don't even have to like go and find out, oh, this is AJX. So I have to go to this website to figure out who owns the LLC. This is what they sold it for. This is how long the flip took. And then you have the Zillow link here that you can pull up on the property that he did. And then you can type notes. This thing is the coolest shit I have ever encountered as like, you can see like, and then to say like, even before you even put a property under contract, you can say, okay, well, I know this guy in this radius spent 316, 330, 330. Then you know what you can offer the seller comfortably. And there's 104 results in this, by the way. And they're all the phone numbers are already there. Like this is the coolest thing. And I'm actually going to drop the link for you guys. They have a free trial. You have nothing to like, there's nothing to lose. Like if you guys are actively wholesaling and you need help with dispo, this is the coolest thing that has come out. It is mind blowing. And when you sign up, Daniel, the guy who actually like invented this and brings all this data together, will connect with you and like tell you like how to use it, build your buyers list, things like that. Like this is an amazing. I've been using like I have been going into. I never really dealt with the pocket listings before, and now I just wholesaled 3 deals with this, finding a buyer with this for like, and I think I think it was like 10 grand each, so it was like 30,000 on these deals, just pocket listings that these agents had. So it's a really cool system. Better than Investor Lift. I mean, you can't post your deal, but you can find your buyers this way. And I've never seen anything like it. Like, I don't know how he's done it. You can see he purchased it for 209. He sold it for 474. So you know you can actually offer that person. Like you can say, okay, well, I have another property down the street. It's a 2.2. It's, lower than the price that you asked for, or it's a little bit more, but whatever. It's in better shape. Like it's a really cool little system. So this is how I've been finding my buyers lately and building my buyers list.
Okay, I'd like to know, are you familiar with Privy? It sounds very much like Privy, what you're describing. Privy.pro.
Does Privy automatically pull the phone numbers of the
buyer?
Does Privy automatically pull the phone numbers of the buyers?
I think so. I mean, I'm not 100% sure about that particular piece, but you get all the contact information. I don't remember whether there's a phone number in there, but everything else is there. And it's almost identical to what you're describing. I just wondered.
No, I don't. I know Privy stopped showing mortgage balances, and I'm a big sub-2 girl. So like, I like to see my mortgage balance. So I kind of like pushed away from, I know it's really good with rentals. But no, I'm not, it might be similar, but I don't think anything like you don't have to go and skip trace people. Like it's an automatic phone number. what they
Mhm.
purchased it for, when they purchased it for, and how long it took them to do the rental, and then what they sold it for afterwards, which is super helpful to know
Yes, that's in
when.
Privy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
is it? Is it? I'm gonna check
Yes.
that out. That's
Everything
awesome.
you're describing, except when you asked me about the phone number, I can't remember that. But Pace is an absolute ardent proponent. I mean, he really pushes Privy. So that was the only way I learned about it. But this sounds great too. I was wondering, how much is this investor base?
It's a free trial for like you can look up to, I think it's like 8 properties, which is really cool. And then it's
Okay.
$249 a month after that. And
Oh,
you can see all the, it's basically all the data. I use PropStream. I'm a PropStream girl. But I use
okay.
it, I use it together. I use it with this. Like, so anytime I have like a wholesale deal, I'll look this address up and say, okay, well, this is what somebody bought it for. This is probably what I can get it for, and
Okay.
make a little bit of money off of it. I think that I don't think Privy has that information, but
Okay.
I'm definitely gonna look into it. I will check. Seriously.
It's a
Thank
lot cheaper than what you're describing. It's much less expensive than that. So I don't know, but I wondered. PropStream, you can't get all the same information on PropStream, can you? I'm trying to compare the differences and I'm still not clear, but apparently not.
No, I would love to know actually, because Privy, I know one of my partners used to use it for rental comps. It was really good for rental comps. Outside of that, I don't, I think they
It's for fix and flips, and they have all the ARV after repair value on there. They have the names of the people, the investors that bought it and flipped it, and what they paid for it and what they sold for. It
really,
have everything that you're describing, except I can't remember the phone number, and I don't think they have a built-in skip trace. But
got you.
those are the only two things that I'm not clear about. But everything else you're describing is and they're offering, actually in December, they're offering a tremendous deal for $500 for a whole year or 75 a month. So I just thought I'd throw
Yeah,
that
I want
out
to take a
for,
look at that. I'm gonna take a look. So you're saying it shows you like the in the area of where like your property. So it'll show you what they bought it for, how long the
yes,
flip took, and then
ex
what they sold it for.
exactly. All of that.
Interesting.
Exactly.
Interesting. Like this is one thing where I can just look up an address and then say, okay, these are all the buyers in this area. And what's really cool is like even landlords, it does landlords, not just fix and flippers. So I didn't show. So there are landlords. It'll show you who has actually purchased properties and they're buying and holding. And then that way, when you have sub two deals, the cash flow is long term rentals. And shit, I've had some that do not cash flow as long term rentals. As a matter of fact, there's probably more that I have that don't cash flow. I had one guy drive, like I found a buyer on that investor base for somebody who was a long-term, she was considered a landlord, and she drove by the house and she ended up putting under a contract with me the day after because she liked it as I guess she wanted it as a short term, but you can actually find landlords and flippers on that website.
So Privy does not show any of the mortgage information anymore.
That
For
sucks.
real. Like I got it up. And it does not give you anybody's phone numbers. It's not integrated with a skip tracing service.
Okay.
So it's mostly for on market properties, right? And I mean, you could find buyers and you could put different filters, but it doesn't have any of the mortgage information. If you're going to comp properties and try to see the mortgage information, I've always used PropStream. I tried a few different ones: PropStream, Privy, Batch, all of them. And PropStream I've used for like 5 years. Now, that for finding actual buyers shows you what they paid, what kind of buyer they are, and their contact information instead of having to go skip trace it through a service.
Got you.
And now Pace and them came out with deal sauce like in the last couple days. And it will show you a lot of information that actually that one does. But I don't know, it's in beta testing mode. So if you really are serious, like Sam, and you're bringing in a lot of deals and you need buyers, then that's the program for that. If you're going to comp stuff and make lists and get familiar, then I would say PropStream.
Yeah, I love PropStream.
Mhm.
That's my favorite. But like it wasn't giving me, like you said, numbers and like being able to say, even before you buy a deal, you punch in the address and you say, okay, this guy is a landlord and he bought this property for X amount of dollars, or this guy is a fix and flipper and this is what he bought it for. So you can kind of like gauge your numbers according to this. And it was the coolest thing. And these numbers work. Like I've gone through the whole diatribe of phone numbers and I've gotten in contact. And even if they don't want that specific deal, you're on the phone with somebody and you say, okay, well, if this isn't like kind of up your, in your alley, what is, and then you can look for those properties based on what those people want.
So what's the difference between prop wire and prop street?
There's a couple differences. So the format, right? And one person owns one and one person owns. There is a free version of prop wire. But if you want to make lists and export CSV files, you're going to have to pay, whether you have prop stream or prop wire. We've used both of them, and Scott likes the prop wire, right? And we might get different comps off of them because you can look up a property and you can comp. But I think unless you have the paid version on prop wire, it comes with some kind of package that you get X amount of skip traces, right? Or you can order more. And then even with prop stream, they have their own. I think it's REI skip is connected to prop stream. And so you can skip things through there as well. But if you don't have the paid prop wire, it's great. If you're just comping properties and looking stuff up and you don't have the money to pay for a service, prop wire is the next best thing to prop stream.
Anisha's on my team, and also Luke, my agent, my direct agent guy, and he swears by prop wire. I've given him, I'm like, dude, use my prop stream, and he'd be like, no, like he's set in his ways. He loves his prop wire, like he loves his free prop wire. So I think it's just a matter of like, preference, honestly, like what you're doing, and then what's good enough for you. Because he loves prop wire. I can't pull him away from it, but I love my prop stream. Like you can do so much. You can find out how much equity. Like I could put 20% max equity and 5% interest rate with a pool. Like sorry, no, I'm looking for a pool. But you can do so much stuff, and then there's a lot you can do in prop stream to me. So I'm a prop stream girl, like all the way. But prop wire is cool too. If you're starting, it's free. It's free, and it's just get in there and figure it out like that. And then on MLS, you can always call those like low equity, high, interest or lower interest properties too. So I don't think anything is bad. I think it just really depends on, batch leads does not show you mortgage balances. And that's why I left batch leads. Someone asked that in the chat earlier. I don't like batch leads. I was in batch leads for a little while, and then they stopped showing mortgage balances. And that's my whole business. I mean, it's all about, taking over people's mortgages. And Connected Investors, I am a part of Connected Investors as well. And they're good too. It's all kind of the same thing. It really depends on what you're comfortable with. And it all shows you the kind of the same data. And they pull it from the same place. So it just kind of depends on what you want. But as far as buyers, like I haven't found anything where you are going to be able to skip trace and also find a buyer in the same area in the property that you're selling, other than investor based, unless you want to JV with somebody and go on investor lift and spend all that money. But this has been like a really good tool for us to use at this point.
Jay Mora, you're on live with Sam Carapia. What's your question?
Hey, Sam, how are you? Thank you so much for hosting this. And thank you, Sunny.
So good. How are you?
I am living the dream. I did want to say that the benefits of investor base. So I'm a cartel boss. I've been for the last year and a half, 2 years.
Awesome.
So this year we've done about 64 so we're primarily dispositions, and I primarily now focus on buying a ton of land. But what I will tell you, here are the steps if you want to do it the freeway, because everybody wants to know the freeway. Go to the tax assessor's office, pull up the information of the property owner. Then you got to go and look up the property owner's information from Open Corporates, put it into a spreadsheet, and then you want to go into either True People Search, cyber background checks, yada yada yada. That now for someone who's new, that's about 30 to 45 minutes.
Dude, that's a step.
All that information. Someone who's a straight savage can do it in 8 to 15 minutes. So this thing is doing it in like the click of a button. It's incredible. Yeah, no. So tell you what, I've utilized it. It works. Here's the thing about Investor Lift is that it's kind of turned really spammy. Most buyers right now, they kind of really just don't acknowledge it. It looks very it just kind of looks like an ad-based platform right now at this
Yes.
moment.
Yes.
And my deals aren't selling as fast as I can just doing a live call, speaking with my buyers and getting belly to belly with them versus putting it on a platform. It's essentially a Facebook now, right? A Facebook marketplace
It is.
full of deals. And it's mainly just wholesalers sending you information, just trying to gather information on the property. So,
Yes.
I mean, if you're running a dispositions focused business, or if you're getting a lot of properties under contract, then absolutely this platform, Investor Base, is right now the number one. And I have them all. All the different platforms. I have Batch Leads, Prop Stream. I have, of course, Prop Wire. I got Investor Base, and I have the cartel mode on Investor Lift. I'll tell you what, this is by far just incredible. Definitely a great platform, especially if you're doing at least 3 deals a month. I say, if you want to level up to the 5 to 8 deals a month, you really want to start
Yes.
yeah. That's my recommendation.
I appreciate that because seriously, like this is the coolest shit I've ever seen. Like honestly, like I just couldn't believe it. Like when I can skip yeah, and when I'm connecting with these people, they're actual people, and they're like, yeah, send me your deals, send me your deals. Like they're people, and I'm having conversations with them, and I'm putting them in a list, and I could send them things that and then maybe work a little bit harder to get things in their area that they want because they're actual. You could see that they purchase these properties and they hold them in their portfolio worth and what they it's insane. So yeah, that's definitely a game changer for me. And that's where I'm at is I'm getting way too many contracts and I'm trying to. I hate dispo. I hate it. I hated it before this, and now it's a little bit easier, but it's still a pain in the ass. Still have to people call, but it doesn't matter. It's like one step. Boom, I get all the information that I need and see what I could actually purchase this property for and make a buck off of it, and it's awesome. And when you're an investor lift, like I could sign up 3 times as a buyer if I wanted to through Google, just saying I am a buyer. It doesn't mean you're a buyer with investor lift. It just means that somebody signed up to look at properties. It doesn't mean you're with investor base. You can actually see that these properties or these people have bought in these properties in this LLC and they have this portfolio value of like $4 million. So they're actual buyers, not just people shopping or kicking tires. And that's the difference to me.
Yeah. And so now you're behind the wheel now. Now you're looking at buyers. Okay, this person has a portfolio of 35 deals. Maybe I want to talk to them. This person only bought 1 deal. Okay, maybe they're new. Maybe their first deal didn't go so well.
Right.
So maybe they're not in the business or, just they're kind of still, working that rehab. So if you see somebody with a lot more, properties under their belt, the likelihood of them being able to buy your deal is a lot higher.
Hey, Mr. Paul Hernandez,
Am I
you're on
coming
live
in?
with Sam Carapia. What's your question?
I've worked with local investors, and everybody kind of likes to brag. And so they would take me out on their projects and look at everything and talk about, oh yeah, this situation might normally cost somebody $5,000, but since my experience and connections, I could do it for like 900. Okay. And then when I would bring them things, they'd forget all the stuff they bragged about, thinking like, trying to get the price down because, oh, it's going to take more work and, this. But they shared all their kind of little tricks, because they like to brag, you know. And so, yeah, I'm pretty quiet. I'm just listening. And I don't forget too much. I don't forget anything that they say. And so then when it comes to negotiating, all of these things that they go, oh yeah, that'll be really expensive, we need to have the price come down, and I'm listening to them, and I go, well, okay, well, I do the same thing. 10,000 non-refundable. It just saves a lot of time. If anybody for real will go for that.
Yeah.
It's no big deal. Show me you got the money. It's no big deal. It's easy enough to find out what kind of projects that they're actually have done or working on. That's really no big deal either. So yeah, it's different. Somebody who's for real and somebody who's talking shit.
Yeah.
But the one thing they're still going to try to, nickel and dime you. I was just wondering, since you have you have a background as a general contractor, I wouldn't imagine anybody would try to dick you around like that because how can they?
They try, and you know what's funny is I'll even tell them sometimes, like if it's in Florida, I'll be like, look, this is what I will get, this is what I will charge you to fix this house. And then and I'll even make a little bit of money on top of it to say, okay, like I do my numbers for that. I'll be like, I will back this up. If you want me to do the work, I can do work all over Florida, licensed, permitted, all that. So I will back that up in my when I'm doing like fix and flip wholesale deals, like I do that all the time. Yes, you're right. They can't dig me around. They can't tell me that this is going to cost this, or the foundation is going to cost 20,000, or the roof's going to cost 25, because I can get it for like 400 a square. Like there's just, yes, you're right. It's different with me, but they approach me different because I'm a girl, which is a whole other thing. But nope, they can't get over on me, and it's okay. But it's yeah, you're right. They try, but it's you just gotta know what you're talking about and be assertive and confident. Confidence goes a long way. You could be a complete idiot and still have confidence, knowing, like you can still, like I've seen people who really know nothing, but they are so confident what they're doing that they express, and people are just like, yes, like this girl knows what she's talking about. This guy knows what he's talking about. And it's all about that. So just be confident in what you're doing and what you're saying, and I've had so much luck. Like I've been so blessed this past year, like seriously, like with the amount of money I've made just getting out of the whole matrix of what we all think is normal in this country and in this world. Like it's not. Like you can make your own reality. And in my reality at this point, it's been really good. It's been really good. And yeah. Yep.
Yeah, you're right. Everybody puts themselves in this little box that they create themselves when you could do anything and everything you want.
Everything.
There's
Everything.
just there's no limit.
Everything, Paul.
Except your imagination.
Yes. Everyone's limited to their own beliefs. And I used to probably, if you would have told me this 2 years ago, I'd be like, oh, you're just, one of them crazy cult people. But it's not. It's so true. It's so true. It's so true. Like it's changed my life. It has changed my life. I've never seen so many numbers in my bank account in my life. And I'm not trying to I'm just saying like that's the reality of it. That is the fucking reality of everything that and I have not worked. I worked so hard for people and in different companies, and I mean busting my ass like 18 hours a fucking day. I mean, so much time, and just making sure everything was perfect. And then you go on by yourself and you're like, oh my God, this is so possible to do. And it's not, it's just, it's like I owe a lot of that to Pace and Sub 2 and people, and networking with people like you guys. Like it's insane. It's insane, really.
It is. It's not easy. It's hard. And you got to stick your nose up somebody's ass and keep it there until you get that paper signed. That's something I had to, I was just lucky in somebody explain that to me. Like I didn't think of course I didn't want to be that way, but you have to. You have to, or else somebody else will take it. But that's what you have to do.
Yep.
Oh yeah, and it always helps to have like 5 or 6 buyer investors, to shoot something at, because like one starts dicking you around. Okay, well, whoever puts that EMD in first is going to get it, and then that saves a lot of trouble.
Like going to Go High Level, like I use Go High Level for my incoming ads and my leads, like for all that, and then I also use it for my buyers. Like I put all my buyers in there, and then when I have a property in Florida, excuse me, we do Florida, we do Texas, and then we have like a couple that are just kind of like random, but I'll just kind of do like a huge email blast to all of those buyers in Florida, and then they'll come back to like, so there's ways of organizing it. Go Ahead Level is like my favorite CRM. It gives you all the things. It'll do like, you can set up shit to like, okay, this is where I have this deal. And then you can like say, okay, if they don't opt out, 2 days later, every 2 days, they'll get a message. Hey, by the way, we still have this deal. Hey, we had this deal in your area. Things like that. So Go High Level is definitely another resource that I use in addition to the investor base thing, if anyone's wondering. That's how I organize all of my buyers and all my buyers lists.
Mr. Rafael Orozco, you're online with Sam Carapia. What's your question?
Thank you, Sonny. Sam, thank you so much for your time and for everything that you're sharing with us.
Always. How are you?
So good, not so bad. Basically the software that you're talking, I'm really interested. Do you think you can talk more about it? And as a buyer, if I'm looking for flips in Fresno, Tulare, in California area, can I put my name in there, or how does it work for the buyer?
Okay, so it won't work like so. It would be more of like, okay, I have a property that I want to get under contract, and then you would put the address in, and then it will give you a 2 mile radius of all the landlords and flippers in that area, what they paid for it, how long the flip took, what they sold it for, and then also the buy and hold investors. So it wouldn't be something you could actually post on, and it wouldn't be something that you could like you just described. Or you asked if it would be something that you could. No, you can't just put a name in there. It would have to be like the address, and then it would give you like a circumference, like a 1 or 2 mile radius of all the properties in that area that have been either sold, or I'm sorry, bought and flipped, or bought and hold by other investors. That is what that does. And then build your buyers list as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sam.
No, you're so welcome.
For
Check that. It's
context,
free. It's a free trial too.
I
Like,
know.
nothing to lose. Like, honestly, like, it's a free trial. You don't like it, just don't do it. But if
Correct.
I automatically upgraded the first minute because it wouldn't give me the ability to do like more than, I think it was 5 properties in the free version, and I had like 10 of them or 12, and I was like, this is amazing, and I was able to connect with real buyers. And that's the thing too, is even if they're not the buyers for your deals, they're still buyers for your future deals. Or people to network with, like we're all doing here. Like, we're all here to network with people. Like, these are people you can actually talk to and say, this is a good buyer. He has a portfolio that's worth over like $3 million or $2 million, and that's what the whole investor base thing does. And I love it.
Awesome. You're awesome, Sam. Thank you so much.
So are you. Thank you.
Raphael, were you also asking about how you could potentially be a buyer for Sam? I know you're doing some flips.
And Gally?
Correct.
What part?
Fresno area, Tulare
Okay.
County, and Bakersfield area.
Nice. Let's connect. Like, take my number and text me, please.
Yeah, we were already in touch yesterday.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Perfect. Thank you.
Shanice, you're on live with Sam Carapia. What's your question?
How you doing, Sam?
Good for you, babe.
Thank you. Thank you for your energy. I love it. That'll keep anybody going. Just upfront and real. I love it. 100%.
Thank you.
My quick question, going back to EMD for the buyer, when you have an interested buyer and you mention the EMD, do you give them a time frame for them to kind of put that EMD just so that you know that they're serious? Because you have a certain amount of time, I guess, between the inspection period to assign the property.
That is a great question. And I just literally am going through this. So I did not designate. Okay, so this last deal I had, he sent the contract, he signed it, everything was good. And I did not have a specific date to when he had to send EMD. So then I'm hounding him. And I was like, man, I told my partner, I'm like, we need to start putting something in there. A lot of my dispo people, like the ones that have investor lift, are doing 24 hours. You have to submit this within 24 hours. Now, if something comes up fucked up with title, you can't hold them against that. Like, okay, you get your EMD back. Like, say something comes back, but outside of that, like once they're in contract with you, they've already seen the property. They've already seen it. They know what it looks like. And then God forbid anything happens with title, that's the only way they would get their money back. If there's a violation or something dirty, like title's clouded with something, then that would give them their EMD back. So I would say like doing a 24 to 48 hour time frame once they sign is probably like what I'm going to start doing, because I'm learning with you guys. Like I just did this with somebody and it was a mess, and he didn't respond, and so now I have it back on the market. So I would say 24 to 48 hours tops. Like, if they're serious, they're serious, and that's, they have to show it, and that's it.
Okay. And how long do you have your like inspection period date? Do you have just 7 to 10 days, or do you stretch it out to 14 days?
I haven't, my A to B contract is usually 21 days. And then your B to C contract, I see when I do my buyers, I always say, like, go look at the property and take a look at it and see what you're getting into. And a lot of my stuff is turnkey. A lot of my stuff is sub 2. So as far as like doing your quote unquote inspections, it's not unfair to say to the A to B to say, okay, I want 60 days and then give your B to C 30 days. If they want to, but I would honestly like on something that is turnkey, I would just say like 7 to 10 days. It is perfect. That is more than fair. 7 to 10 days.
Okay. All right, perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Rick Strickland, you're on live with Sam Carapia. What's your question?
No, I just want to thank her for being so raw, because she is like a female version of me. She doesn't hold back. And I find it refreshing, And I mean, that's one thing about this business. I'm not in the real estate yet. I'm still working on my own, but I did a hell of a job. I brought 15 grand up to $250,000. It's in my bank. And when I find that property, then I'll buy it, right?
Yeah.
But just her rawness and being real with it, because there are people out here, I don't know, there are people out here that will fuck you over. They are in Pace's community. Not everybody's your friend. But you got to keep it real. You got to put up provisions. You got to make sure you got it straight. That's like me. I made my money. I took all the principles I learned from Pace and JJ and then on Facebook Marketplace. I made 15 grand. Somebody had a $35,000 Camaro, 68 Camaro, and then I found my buyer. I'm like, look, I'm on $45,000 for it, cash money. I'll have it delivered to you tomorrow.
I love that.
Back to the Camaro dealer. I'm like, look, bro, all I got is 25. What's your pain point? Are you happy with it? I bring you money tomorrow. So I went and got the 45. I brought it to the 25. I made $20,000 profit in less than 2 hours and $200 worth of paperwork. But that works for me.
That's working,
ma'am. But I love your attitude. I'm gonna screenshot this. When I get ready, I don't do wholesale. I know that's your shit, but I'm gonna be like buying whole, like, oh boy. But I really love your attitude. You're refreshing, because I mean, Sonny, most people are come here so they're very polite and particular, but just having that raw shit, sometimes it just refreshes the system. So I thank you for you coming and sharing. I will reach out to you when I'm at that point. I'm not in the development stage, but I would definitely be in touch with you.
Sam, thank you so much for being here with us.
Welcome. I'm so happy to be here. And if anybody needs, it's wine actually in the red cup. So if anybody needs anything, seriously, if you guys are dealing with like any specific deal or anything that you want to work through, or you have a deal that you're about to close, or anybody, like, please feel free to hit me up. I am always available if you have a specific deal and you're working on it. I don't like people with analysis paralysis. Don't think about it too much. Don't overthink it, because that's when things like slide by. Just go out there, make a mess, and then come tell me to fix it. I would rather fix your mess than you come to me and say, oh, I don't know how to get started. Seriously, please. Like, go out there, get me a deal, bring it to me, and we will help. No, I will help. I will help you.
And what is the best way for people to reach out to you? Is it your MySpace page?
Let me know if you need anything. I always like to help people who are looking to advance, because I was just there. I was just there a year ago. I know what you guys are going through. Just don't overthink it. Don't overthink it. Get in there, make a mess. I'd rather clean up somebody's mess than have somebody come to me and say, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to start. Just go in there and stir some shit up.
That is the best way to learn, right?
Yep, it is.
As one of my mentors says, crawl, walk, run. So we crawl and 90% of people don't take action. And also 90% of people, as JJ says, are chasing deals instead of relationships. So how important is it to use social media in a group like JJ's for networking, Sam?
It's so important. Oh my God, you guys, it's so important, because you get people who relate to you and know you, and that is so important. JJ's group is so great. I love it so much. And I've got like 5,000 followers myself, but I will love JJ. JJ's group is awesome. Like, networking is everything. You have to get with people who know you and understand you and help each other. it's just immeasurable. The like it's great.
Excellent. And if people, you are here live, we're about to do breakout rooms and networking. And if you're watching this on YouTube, please click that like button, leave a comment about the takeaway or any takeaways you got from this interview. We want Sam to see those and feel that love. And as always, thank you for watching Flipside Up with JJ. We'll see you soon in the world of virtual networking. Bye, guys.
I love it. Bye.